Hey, you doing? Uncle fucking Mikey over here. What do you say I teach you assholes how to listen to good sound? I think it's about time, eh? Think so. Think so, you bastards, you. I'm telling you. They say just listen to it. Listen to it. Listen to yourself. Listen to it yourself. If you like it, you like it. It's good sound, all right? But how are you supposed to know good sound if you don't know fucking good sound? You haven't heard it before. You know, I mean, you have had a couple small things, but you haven't had any big ass, system. So how you supposed to know good fucking sound? You got me. But I happen to know, and I might just teach you. I would think that would be funny to do that shit the whole time through. But I think I'd lose track. And then I'd start it would go from New York to India, and then to Irish, Lucky Charms, pink hearts, green clovers, yellow moons, and it would just go around. I've had that, or it'd be like country Indian or something, or it's funny when sometimes you do accents and then they get mixed up. And you're like, what the hell was that? Like a southern, a hillbilly Indian, or something. So it's just kind of funny. But anyways, hey, don't. Yeah, what I've been thinking about is that, a lot of us have been telling people, we tell you, look, you just trust your ears, and it's all really, in the end, it's all just about what you think sounds good, because truly that is really what matters. But there is a general what sounds good and what's not that pretty much anybody can agree to. There's little variances and stuff. But so I'm going to do it for you. I'm going to go ahead and teach you how to listen to, or what good sound is, what it sounds like, from my perspective, okay? And if you've ever been to my rig, been around any rigs that I've put together or so forth, you sort of get an idea of if I know what I'm doing or not, or if you like sound the way I like it, okay? So we're going to start with the lesson right now. And the first part is going to be frequency response, okay? That's what we're going to start with, is frequency response, because that is the most basic way to describe sound. That's like first grade, right? It's got good highs and mids, and you're talking in terms of mids and highs and lows. You're in first grade, okay? That's how first graders describe hi-fi, because it's beyond that far. The good part about the high end is not the frequency response, because many things can do good highs, lows, mids, okay? That's the easy part. The hard part is something else that I won't go into yet until we get to that part. But okay, so let me describe to you. We'll start with the low frequency, okay? So what should good bass sound like, okay? Good bass should be, first of all, non-directional, okay? You should feel it and hear it slightly. But you should definitely not be able to echolocate it, meaning you should not know, oh, it's coming from that spot in the room, or it's coming from right over there. You do not want that. That is not good. If you're locating it, your low frequency is jacked. You need to move the sub. You need to do something to get it. Now, and I'll say this too, getting the low frequency dialed in is a pain in the ass. And that is the hardest part about getting the speakers set up and everything, is getting that bass dialed in so it's seamless between the sub and the main speakers, okay? So don't feel bad. We all spend weeks and weeks doing little adjustments and going back and making little adjustments and going back. And I've done it so much, I've got it down to science at this point. But unless you do it for a living, it'll take a while. But don't fret, because you will get it. So the idea is, for one, not to be able to know where it's coming from. You'll feel it and you'll hear it. And when I say feel, this is an important part, okay? When the room has a slight concussive wave in it, okay, where it's like a very light but if you know what I mean, where it seizes the air, it seizes the molecules in the air, and you'll feel it. It's almost like a little tap to your chest, or to it's just the air. It just goes, but you feel it. It's this concussive thing that the bass does. That is how you. That's what I feel is ideal bass. When it's in there like that, you feel a little, seize the air a little bit. Okay, cool. Not overly done, because it's easy to overtake the other frequencies if you run that too strong. So, and it's common to run bass too strong. So ease it back a little bit, but still give it that oomph. So you want to, well, I'm not going to teach you how to create it at this point. I'm just going to teach you what it sounds like. Okay, so that's, you're going to come into the room, you're going to hear something like that. The bass is going to be slightly concussive. It's going to grab that air, and and the low frequency, which is like, I'm talking about like below 50 for sure. Below, so below 50, you just, it's a fill, really, is that it'll sound to you like the room is full of something. Okay, and when you take that away, that's when the thing starts sounding a little thin and threadbare. So a good, fully balanced, a system that not meaning differential, but okay. So when we say balanced, and you're talking about sound, balanced means a good balance of the different frequencies. Balanced in equipment is something different, of course, okay? So when you say it's got good balanced sound, that means all the ratios are good. You're not missing anything. It's good and balanced, okay? It's all there. So the low frequency should be just like that. It should fill the room. You should feel it. You feel it and it fills something. It's almost like an ambient sort of a vibe, or, it's not really, there's no not notes tied to that fill. It's just a fill, low fill that you just feel in the room. So you should have that. You should have a nice low fill. It should be slightly concussive, like that, where you grab the air a little bit. It should not be overpowering. It should not be boomy. No boom, boom, boom. No, like, you don't want the decay to be long on bass notes. You want them to be tight to where they end slightly faster than, say, the mids would. Okay, you don't want them hanging in the room, those bass notes. So good sound won't have any of that long ringing bass. It'll be tight and quick, and just tight and quick, and not sloppy. Okay, or not fat, which is like, where it's just, it rattles things and it's just really like fat and thick. That's not good either. It should be nice and tight, and then you should feel that deep stuff. So you keep it down low, and down low is where you should feel it. The next is a very tricky area, the mid bass. Okay, not many systems really can get that. Well, it's often overlooked. Let's put it that way. The mid bass is something where that's where you feel the punch. Okay, when you hear like punchy bass, punch is going to be in the mid bass. Okay, that's like 100 hertz, and in that area, you're going to get that. That's where the kick drum is. Kick drum even goes higher, actually, but the body of the kick drum, not the first tap, but the body of it will be that'll be mid bass. And the mid bass is the thumper. The more of the thumper, the more of the punch. And you'll hear that when drums are played. Okay, and that's like if you're listening to rock music, toms, the floor tom, things like that, you'll hear right in that area. It's where mid bass, you can also hear like the tonality of the wood of certain instruments, like a cello. You'll hear that resonance of the wood in that mid bass region too. So you can listen for that. Listen for tonal quality, and listen for the like if you're listening to acoustic music, listen for the wood right in that area. Listen for drums in that area. Anything that's that's like a hit. For the most part, like percussion is going to sort of be, a good amount of it's going to be in the mid bass, and then on into the mid range. And the mid range should be okay. The mid range, you're going to want, it should be a little bit forward. Okay, to keep it so it pops. You want the mid range to lift off the background. So you'll hear that mid bass and bass. It'll sort of be filling everything and be just omnipresent. And your mid range will lay right in front of that. Okay, it's going to pop off it. It's going to be closer to you. okay? And that's going to be where the vocals are, the female vocals, right through that mid-range. It's going to sound liquid is in the mid-range. In the mid-range, it sounds very smooth and liquid. It should be just flowing and just be like kind of like just glowing almost, okay? And that's like, it feels almost like that's where like the life is of the human, would be right in there. And so that's why a lot of the, vocal is there as well. So that lends itself to feeling like the life of it is right there. And certain instruments as well, like violin, and you're going to also listen for, in violin or cello, you're going to listen for that vibration, okay? It's not just going to be like, boom, like a straight tone. It's going to be like, it's going to have a texture to it. You're going to be able to hear the strings like gripping that metal of the bow rather. You're going to hear the bow, whatever material that is, horsehair or whatever. You'll feel it, kind of the friction. You'll hear that little. It's a little vibration. It's got a texture to it, a texture that you just sort of, you feel it in the same with the wood. It's this vibration and this texture. That whole sound together of a cello it's very complex. It's not just one thing like a single note. It is and that's another good point. And a good system, or when you're listening to see if it's good sound, each particular sound is not going to be just one sound. It's going to be like 3 sounds or 4 sounds to it. It's like if you know wine tasting, you taste the wine, you've got the attack, you've got the evolution, you've got the finish. Those are 3 separate parts of that tasting, right? And with an instrument, it's very similar. You smack a cymbal, you're going to hear the attack, which is that stick hitting the thing. Tick, it's just going to be a tick. That's very high frequency. That's like up, up towards the top of frequency, that tick, okay? It's very distinct. It cuts through everything, and I'm not using cut like a bad term, but it goes through everything. You hear that to your ear, that tick, immediately before with nothing gets in its way, okay? So that tick, and then there's the evolution, the attack, the evolution, and the decay. So the evolution is like where the cymbal goes shh. It gets more, and then it goes away, and then it goes away. So the evolution is like the middle part of that whole thing, the attack, the evolution, and then the decay is how it fades off. So there's 3 different parts of a cymbal hit. And it's like that with the other instruments as well. There's different constituent parts that make up that sound. So when you're listening for the complex features of those instruments. You're looking for the depth of sonic. How complex is it? Is it giving me that portrayal or that playback? How well is it recreating the original instrument? And you kind of have to hear an original instrument if you've never heard it before. Find somewhere to hear a cello, find somewhere to hear, go to the orchestra, go to the symphony at least once, so you know what the things sound like really in real life, or if you know somebody that plays flute or anything, man, just have them play it and listen to it and know what it sounds like right in front of you, because you're going to be comparing your audio rig to live sound of that instrument. So really in the mid-range is what can give it a lot of its life, a lot of its realism, okay? And that is a term that's absolutely used when describing good sound, is realism. Does it sound real? How indistinguishable is it from the real thing? Okay, and that is in the mid range. Okay, and that's and then the upper mid is going to be like high parts of the upper mid is an actual, that is a place of a lot of pain. Okay, so crappy rigs are not good sound is going to have a glare in the upper mid. Okay, many DACs have this byproduct called it's a glare. And when people say sounds digital, that's what they're talking about, okay? You're going to hear it like in piano. When you hear piano, and then you're going to hear in this upper mid, it's the glare because it hurts. It's like right around 1K is like the frequency that our ears like are most sensitive to, and it bugs us out, And so a good sound will not have a ringing in that area. Good sound will be smooth through there. Okay, it's not going to have this glare and you'll know it when you hear it. Trust me, you'll know it when you hear it, because it will bother you. You can definitely tell when something has that glare. It's a little painful. It's a little, you wince a little bit. So you don't want to hear that in good sound. And then your top end, okay, is going to be extremely extended. It's going to go up past 20K, okay? But it's going to be smooth. So you're going to hear it, but it's not going to hurt. You're going to hear it, and it's like the hurt part is like at 1,000. It's lower than really the upper, up in the 16, 18, 20. Now, I can't even hear to I probably hear till 14. You know what I mean? And really, if you think you do the test sometime, listen to test tones and see. You'll be surprised at how little you can hear above 12 or 14, especially if you've got some years on you. Hang on, I've got a call coming in, and okay, there. Wow, I did that all while we're still recording. Okay, so anyways, okay, so the highs should be just, those are something. Okay, now in the highs, and the high frequency, there's something called a leading edge, okay? And that's where that tick sound that I'm telling you about on the cymbal, that's where that comes from. That is very much a leading edge sound. It's either going to sound dullish and be like tick, 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 it's going to be like under like a freaking, blanket or something, right? Or there's the tick, a tick, tick, there's a real clear and concise sound on that top, and that should be like the cymbal, or the tick of the stick on the cymbal, or hitting drums. What's another sound? It's up there. That's the one. That's the one that does it for me. That's how I check leading edge every time. Is the sound of the drumstick. You have to realize in real life, okay, things like that, okay, that's startling, that's loud, that's high frequency. If you do that right by someone's ear, it's going to make their ear ring. They're going to punch you. It's like it's going to scare them, and they're going to jump and all that shit. So for your rig to sound natural and real, it's going to have to be able to reproduce things that make you jump, that are that dynamic. And so that's something that you need to be able to hear, because it's real life. If you're standing next to a trumpet, you're going to be like, it's going to be like hardcore. So real life has sounds like that are startling, that are very, high frequency and dynamic and quick. So your rig should be the same way. A good sound will reproduce it the same way. It won't make it tame on top, okay? If you try and smooth something out, let's say here's typical. Somebody has a less than, great DAC, okay? And it's got glare on the piano, or glare in that upper mid, like I'm telling you about. So what they do is they try and say, oh, well, I want to add something tubey to it and make it tubey sound, and to kind of take out that digitalness. Well, you can very likely take out that leading edge as well with on the very high frequency, and that will make it. You will not have realism from that. That will kill your realism, okay? Because the real life has that really tight, sharp toothed, leading edge, and it's not to be overused or exaggerated, but it needs to be there for it to be correct, okay? So you will have, and that's balanced all the way through that frequency range, like that. That's balanced. Now you've got all the frequency right in here, okay? The first thing I'll do, though, when I sit down in front of a rig is I'm going to listen for the image. Because if it can't image, I don't give a shit about frequency. I'm out of there, okay? If it's not imaging. What image means is you're going to sit down, okay, in your chair, right, the middle chair, the good the sweet spot. And you, for any vocal or any lead instrument or something like that, you're going to hear it dead nuts center. It's actually should hit you right between the eyes, okay? And you're going to hear the center image that's unmistakable, right bam in the center, and it's going to be obvious. It's going to stand out. You're going to notice it right away. It either has it or it doesn't. When it doesn't have it, what you're going to hear is something that sounds flat. It's going to sound like from the speaker baffles, like the music is just, it doesn't come past that. Like if you were to draw an imaginary wall, even with the front of the speaker baffle, and nothing comes in front of it and it's all back there, then you've got no image, okay? Your imaging will come in front of the speaker baffle. It will come towards you, okay? And that's usually in a vocal is like the easiest way to hear that image. And it will be centered, perfect dead nut center, and it'll be right here, okay? So you're getting the image. Now that's a necessary thing. That's got to be there. That's a prerequisite, okay? That's basic stuff. If it now you've got your center image, okay? So now you've got a center image, you've got good frequency response. It sounds like everything is well balanced. You've got your tight bass that's tonally correct. It's got nice tone. It's not too boomy. It's not too loose and flabby. It's nice and tight and musical, okay? You can hear the notes of the bass, boom, 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 boom. It's like it has a tonal quality to it rather than just a thump quality to it, and then up on through the frequency to the mid range where it's going to be nice and fluid. There's going to be when a woman sings, you're going to hear a as well as the actual vocal that she's singing. It's like the air. It's the air that comes out, and it comes along with the vocal. You'll hear that, and then okay, cool. You're getting into the micro details of the things. So you'll hear that in a vocal. In a male's vocal, you'll hear the timbre of his voice. That deepness, the huskiness of the male vocal you'll hear as well. And that's another thing is like the micro details. The better the sound is, the more micro details you will hear, and they will be subtle. They will not stand out like freaking Christmas ornaments in your room, okay? There is a too much detail and a too embellished, pretty, like distinct detail where it's overdone, okay? And that's another thing that you should know is that good sound can be overdone. It can go to the point where it was great right there and you just overdid it. You too much of a good thing. Now it sounds like something embellished, shiny, overdone. It's just it's overdone. You can tell it because it sounds so. It's like candy, It's just like sweet candy everywhere, and the sounds they'll be so distinct in the air that it'll almost be distracting of how distinct they are, and they won't have a cohesiveness. They'll be so distinct that it'll be like droplets out in the air of each instrument that has its own little orb that it's contained in, and it's just this beautiful little Christmas ornament orb that's just so pretty and beautiful and shiny, but it distracts you because it's so pretty. You look at it, and then there's one over there. Oh, what's that one? Oh, and there's one over there, and there's one over there, and it also amazes you. You're just like, it's incredible. That's not good sound, okay? That is not normal. That's not natural. That is somebody that's just overdone it. They put too much something in there, and now it's like way beyond, and it's in a hyper area that is not natural. You want your sound to sound natural. Good sound, it's natural, it's organic. It does not sound super pretty and shiny. It does not sound like that. And there are systems and things and whatever pieces that will do that, okay? So you're up through your range. Now you sat down, you know that you're getting a dead center image. You can hear it dead center on the vocals. Okay, cool. And you're hearing layers, okay? So you will hear where the drums are straight at the back, center, like straight back, and then you'll hear that there's like the vocal, like a little bit in forward, like layered right in front of it. Piano layered again, maybe off to a side a little bit. But each one will have it's like a curtain kind of coming in, and they'll have their layers. So you'll notice different layers of the sonic, but they will be cohesive. They will have their individual layers. They will have their individual distinct placement. but they are still going to have an overall cohesive nature where everything is cohesive. It sounds like one of something rather than 15 of something, okay? And the ones that are overdone, the systems that have too much detail overdone, they sound like 15 of something, okay? And so you're going to want to have something that sounds natural and it has this coherence together with it. It's very cohesive, and you're going to and you're listening. You got that dead center image, and really at that point you're going to start to feel. You're going to just close your eye. You don't have to close your eyes. I close my eyes because it takes the visual information out of my experience. I don't want my hearing being distracted by visual data input from my eyes. So I close my eyes, which allows me to just hear and taste, I guess. But it's like, and smell. Ooh. So I listen. I close my eyes and listen, and tune out the visuals, and then I listen and I go for a feeling. How do I feel? Because the first part is getting all those sound, everything that I just described about sound, I get all that straightened out. Now, when I know it's all there, okay, everything's here, checked all the boxes, all the marks. Now I'm going to close my eyes and I'm just going to feel, I'm going to see how does this feel to me? Does this feel like real people making music? Does it feel, do I feel their presence? Okay, in a really good rig, I will feel the presence of other humans in the room that are from the band that I'm listening to, okay? Like if nobody's in the room with me and I'm by myself and I'm listening to music in a good rig, I will sense humans in the room with me, even though there aren't humans in the room with me, because it sounds so much like they are that I feel like they're there, okay? So, feel and see how does it make you. You will connect with in a good rig. You're going to connect with the music, okay? It's going to leave your brain and go to your heart. Your brain is going to get out of it, especially once everything's sorted. Now, if there's an anomaly, let's say you've got glare, okay? If you've got glare, I'm not going to be able to get to the feeling the people. I'm not going to be able to get past that. The glare is going to hang me up. And I'm going to get stuck on that until that glare is gone. That's how the OCD audiophile is. We can't get past that. We must fix it. And we do. We get past it. We fix it. Now I can enjoy and breathe and a sigh of relief and enjoy the music. So the next step is for me to listen and just sort of feel how's the real, how does it make me, am I getting goosebumps? Am I really feeling the emotion that Bob Marley is singing there? Do I feel like the pain and the anguish of his people and of the movement and the whole strife? I can feel it. You can feel it if you're in touch with the music. And that's really what it's all about, is to enjoy these different experiences that music brings to us, and we see a different piece of life for a second. Maybe it makes us aware of something that we weren't aware of before, which Bob's music was kind of intended to do. So I start to feel and feel for extraneous things that are not what I'm hearing per se. So we talked about closing the eyes and getting the visual out of it. Then I almost take my hearing out of it. Really, it's taking my brain out of it. I'm still hearing, but I'm more sensing and feeling of how does it feel? Am I connecting? Am I feeling the emotion of, the singer right now? Am I feeling it? And you'll feel it because you'll get emotional waves coming through, things of some like peaceful or relaxing or something happiness or something sad or something that's super happy that makes you feel like crying because it's like joyful tears, because it's triumphant, and something overcame something. And so it's like a beautiful thing. And it's like, you want to cry because it's joyous, because it's beautiful. So those are the things that you look for after you've got all the sonic crap, figured out. So, I think in a what do we 20 it's half an hour. I talked your ear off, but in a small short time, I think that should help you understand a lot about what good sound is. Because I realized the other day that, for people that are just sort of trying to figure out hi-fi, and we tell them, look, just trust your own ears, but they don't know what the hell good sound is, because you can trust your own ears, but look, I've trusted my own ears and I thought something sounded killer, and we measured it and it was all jacked up and I felt retarded and embarrassed. I was like, I can't believe I thought that was good sound. But that's what happens. I see people all the time go into rooms at shows, and I'm like, oh God, this sounds so horrible. But the people are in there nodding their head and da-da-da, because they think this is what good sound is. Like they're accepting that as good sound. So you've got to sort of have a little bit of either it's going to take you a long time to trial and error, or somebody like me that I'm doing right now to sort of explain it to you. Maybe it helps you get it a little bit more, and you can get on that to where you feel more confident that you know what is good sound and what isn't. And mainly, look, the great rigs, okay, the great rigs, the ones that are great, are few and far between. Even at the hi-fi shows, out of 100, 2 are great. 98 are good, okay? The great rooms are undeniable, unmistakable. You can't miss them. They will clobber you. And not because it's loud, but just because it's so easy to tell that it's beyond the other rooms. It stands out like a sore thumb. You're just like, oh, wow, yep, this has got it. I can tell instantly when I step in that room if it's one of those rooms or not. That's how it hits you. It's that obvious. So when you hear those rooms, if you get into one like that and you hear that, spend some time in there listening to how the different things sound. Realize, okay, I'm in a reference rig right now, so let me experience this and put it to my memory banks, what different things sound like in these with this rig. And that's how you'll set your own reference inside your calibration of what the good sound and what good, how a cello sounds really when it's killer, or piano or whatever. So you want to be closer to me, don't you? Yes, you do. Did I get some Banaka? Okay. Remember Banaka? You ever take a lighter and shoot that shit? It's pretty wicked. Banaka, yeah, we used to Banaka and Polo cologne. Ew, that stuff stinks. But we used to douse ourselves in it, trying to get the punani. Anyway, so yeah, so that's basically it. That's Mikey trying to tell you what good sound sounds like. So let me know how I did, if it makes sense to you. If you have any questions, just, put them up, and I'll answer as good as I can. Hey, it's 4th of July. It's evening of 4th of July. So, Independence Day from the powers that be. Let us all remember that we are independent and we are the people. There is nobody that rules us. There is nobody that rules us, okay? There's no cop. There's no Fed. There's nobody that rules us. We are self-governing. We rule ourselves. That's how it is, okay? We've forgotten that, and they've got the upper hand, man, right now. They've really got the upper hand, but we are far more powerful and far more voluminous. You can't stop as many as there are of us, even if you got your F-15s and nukes, like Biden said. Remember, we are the people. Go to your local city council meetings. That's what I'm going to start to do. I'm going to go show up at the local city council meetings with some people from my neighborhood. I know a couple guys in the hood that are bros, and we're going to go down there and just check it out and just sit in and see what it's all about. And then we'll learn about it. We'll learn that if we don't like some of the shit they're trying to do, we'll stand up against it, and we'll tell other neighbors, and we'll make a stand, and we'll have it be our way. That is how it starts. You must do that. If you don't do it, you're not being responsible. We were not taught to do that, so we didn't do it, and look where we are now. If all us were going to the city council meetings and all the way up, our country would be way cooler, because we would be making all the laws for us. And we're going to make the killer laws for us. But the guys that are in office now are grifting for themselves. They're not looking out for us. Whereas if we were in there, we would be looking out for us. So right now, it's like imposters or grifters are in there because we were too lazy to do our responsibility of go down and be at the council meetings. So some other people did. And now they got the upper hand, and we're going to have to take it back, and it's going to be a pain in the ass. It's going to take some time, and there's going to be, it's just going to be hard. And but we will get it back. We stick together, we unify, get past this race bullshit. Come on, give me a break. That is so fucking third grade race shit. Fuck you guys. It's like, man, we're people. And we're people, and that's all that fucking matters. Look people in the eye. That's all you got to do, is look them in the goddamn eye. If you're not looking them in the eye, you're looking down. Maybe that's when you see their damn color. Look people in the eye. Have some confidence, because we are the people. All right? All right. See you later. See you.